Hello, and welcome to the BMC Quick Course series. My name is Thomas Smith, and I'm the lead technical support based in Austin, Texas. In this session, I'll describe some configuration options for infrastructure components. The components that are configured through the infrastructure panels are DB2 Component Services, or DBC, DB2 Product Configuration, or LGC, Next Generation Logger, or NGL, Runtime Component System, or RTCS, User Interface Middleware, or UIM, Extended Buffer Manager, or XBM. Infrastructure components are designed to be reused from release to release and are maintained by applying maintenance. These infrastructure components might be in use by several other BMC products that were not selected to be installed in this project. Installing a new instance of the infrastructure would be disruptive to the existing products and could complicate the environment with more started tasks than are needed. BMC software recommends reusing the infrastructure components if they already exist. Only a few configuration values will need to be specified in order to interface the products being installed to the existing infrastructure. The new load libraries will contain all of the latest maintenance so that the infrastructure components are updated with this install, but not reconfigured. From the Execute Project menu, select Configuration Option 3 to set selected products or component values. Select Option 1 from the Configure Products or Components menu. The next few slides will show a representative sample of DB2 configuration panels. BMC software recommends reusing infrastructure components if they are already installed and configured at your site. To reuse existing infrastructure components, type Y in the Reuse column next to each component you want to reuse. When reusing LGC, UIM, and RTCS, no other configuration values need to be specified. When reusing DBC, a subset of configuration values will need to be specified in order to configure the products to use the existing DBC. Specify the previous release of the component shown. If you do not currently have the infrastructure installed, enter 1 for none. When selecting to reuse the DBC component, specify your existing DBC subsystem ID and DBC group name. These will be used in the configuration jobs. Specify the subsystem identifier to use for XBM. If you have an existing XBM started task, enter the high-level qualifier for your current XBM vSAM repository datasets. The low-level qualifier of .xbm repnn will be used. If you do not have an existing XBM started task, enter the high-level qualifier to be used for the new repository datasets. When selecting to reuse the NGL component, specify the existing NGL archive started task proc. Once you have gone through all the configuration panels for the infrastructure components, you will come back to the Configure Products or Components panel and the Configure BMC Infrastructure option will be marked complete. After all configuration options are marked complete on this panel, you can proceed to JCL Generation, either by selecting Option 8 from this panel or Option 5 from the Execute Project panel. The option will not be highlighted until all configuration options are complete. However, the configuration options can be completed in any order. Going back to the first infrastructure panel, if you do not have an existing instance of the infrastructure components, then specify N to configure a new instance. When installing a new DBC component, you need to specify the DBC subsystem ID, a DBC group name, and a DBC repository dataset to use. BMC software recommends including the DBC group name and DBC SSID in the repository dataset name to ensure that it is unique per DBC instance. When installing a new LGC component, specify the XCF group name to use and the LGC registry dataset. BMC software recommends including the DBC group name as a node in the LGC registry dataset name to enforce sharing the dataset between all LGC agents in the same DBC group. When installing a new NGL component, specify the NGL archive started task proc name and NGL registry dataset. BMC software recommends including the DBC group name and DBC SSID in the NGL registry dataset name to ensure that it is unique per DBC instance. When installing a new UIM component, specify the name to use for the started task and an account code. Enter a port number to be used for the UIM server. The valid port number range is 1025 through 65535, and our default port is 3683. Assign a port number that is valid for your environment. The encryption level is used to configure the encryption level used between the UIM server and any connecting clients. When a client connects to UIM, credentials are required. The credentials can be encrypted to provide further protection. Option 1, No, would indicate that the credentials be transmitted in clear text form. Option 2, Credentials If, indicates that if both the Z-Series processor and the client support encrypted credentials, they should be used. Specify the USS HFS root path. The UIM Web Services requires a directory path in the USS that the UIM server can read and write to. The directory is used to store configuration members for the web services. When installing a new RTCS component, specify the proc names and the XCF group name to use. When reusing infrastructure components that require a started task, the $450 STRT job contains instructions for implementing the new load libraries. This slide shows the steps for reusing an existing instance of the RTCS component. If you specified to install a new instance of the infrastructure components, the $450 STRT job will contain instructions on how to set up the started task. Thank you for your time. For more information on any BMC mainframe product, please visit the URL shown here.